Australia has its fair share of spicy animals. Which, to be honest, makes sense because it kind of matches our very spicy weather. You know that it's spicy because the cicadas are out letting you know it's spicy. I mean, just listen to them. But there is something else out in the spicy bush on days like today, and that's prospectors looking for shiny rocks. Kind of like this one, but also kind of not.
I've never been to this part of the creek before. I thought I'd take a gamble on seeing how hard access was, and I'm super glad I got here.
The idea to go out on a 36-degree day came to me, as where all good ideas come to me, on the toilet. You see, I spend my toilet time usually cruising Google Maps and looking for interesting things, and I found an access point to an area I'd already been working that I had previously not known about. Meaning I had a new section of creek to explore, and I wanted to see if the gold had managed to travel down that far.
After 6 months of solid use, my potato pan was starting to get some cracks in it, so I fully re-oiled it, and this is its first test back out on the creek. So far, it looks like it's holding up really nice, and the cracks have all sealed up.
The gold on Garnet Creek is incredibly good. There's really big specks and lots of them, but finding those deposits is fraught with some difficulty. Mainly fighting leeches, dealing with the heat, the flies, and an ungodly amount of cow shit. And given that there were no visible signs of old-timer workings down this far on the creek, I was a little apprehensive at what I would find. There are two things on this creek that I'm interested in, primarily gold but also garnets. You see, there's a lot of metamorphic schist hanging around this creek, and in this particular area, that's where almandine garnets form.
Getting lower in my old age is getting hard.
Almandine garnets are pretty common right across the world, and even in my area, they're relatively plentiful, but this creek actually has gem quality ones that you could, in theory, facet if you found one big enough. It's a really cool byproduct of also being able to pick up some good gold. The only question which remained, was my toilet time Google mapping going to pay out on a new spot?
The byproduct of gold on this creek is garnets, and it looks like we've got quite a few in there already. We'll add a bit of wire. Start rebuilding fences in a couple of years if we get enough of these.
And with the first pan of the day showing me not only little garnets, but also some okay gold.
First pan of the day and we've already got gold, so we've got to keep looking because I know the gold gets a lot better here, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 little flakes.
I was hopeful that I was finally onto a spot that no other prospector had touched in quite a while. Because I mean, like, if I had missed finding out where the access point was for this area, surely most other people would have too. Perhaps a bold and arrogant statement, but you can live in hope.
Oh, we're on the right track. I got way more garnets this time. Look at them all, there's thousands of them. Wow, probably not thousands, but they're a good size, and there's more than 5.
Wow, Chris, more than 5. Good mathing.
Holy crap! There's so many garnets! Yeah, there's a little bit of gold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I know this creek can give us way better though, so we are definitely going to keep looking.
Hold up, I feel like I need to give you guys some context. This is what a good pan looks like here. And so hopefully you now understand why I'm not overly excited about 10 little specks. With mixed ghostly oohs of encouragement in the background, it was time to keep checking. First pan showed us that we had gold, the second pan had better garnet. Surely, somewhere in this new stretch of an old creek, there'd be something worth finding.
It's 35 degrees centigrade today and high humidity from thunderstorms last night. I'm getting out of the sun. God bless you, big tree that's covered in flood debris. It floods hard here, obviously. I would be a fish if I was here, like, when it was raining real hard. That is high flood water markings. Why is that rock so sparkly? Oh, it's mica. Oh, there's mica all over it.
I rolled up my sleeves to show off my very furry forearms, but also to get to work. The high flood waters had given me a bit of a clue as to what was going on in this creek. High velocity water takes something special to drop the gold out of.
That's exactly what I'm looking for upstream, shattered bedrock. It's a lot rarer up there.
In order for gold to drop out in super high velocity water, you need super high friction. Essentially the opposite of KY jelly. The anti-P Diddy party. And so that's what I started looking for, an invite to the anti-P. Diddy party. Where in this creek was there high enough friction for the small, tiny particles of gold to drop out in big numbers? But unfortunately,
not even a speck. If I had found that kind of bedrock upstream, there would have been a lot of gold in it. Unfortunately, it looks like all of the good gold is in the heat. Blessed by the accursed fireball.
There was, however, a shiny red side to this. The garnets down this end of the creek were more plentiful and bigger than upstream.
This looks good.
Are you all ready to nerd out a little bit? This is the view of the spot that I thought would be good looking upstream. Freeze frame. This is a shelf of bedrock. This line of gravel shows the area of high velocity water and where it was pushing rocks. And my thought was, because there's little gravel behind that rock, maybe the edge of the rock would have high friction and more gold. But you know what they say, opinions are like assholes, everyone has one. And so testing is mandatory to prove that your asshole is special.
First impressions, good sized garnets. I mean, hey, at least we're going to go home with some gemstones today. Damn. I didn't really get any clay in that pan, so if that's in surface gravels, maybe there's some a bit deeper. Maybe there's not, because gold does whatever it wants. And humans have no say.
Ah yes, no say in what Mother Nature does. Don't you just wish you had superpowers to change that? I do. I would change it so there was a taco tree.
Look at my big fat puffy legs. So many garnets. Heaps of them. And we're getting a little bit of gold, but I'm struggling to find anything significant, which is always the problem with prospecting. Otherwise it'd just be called gold digging, wouldn't it? Maybe I should start just being a gold digger. That seems like an easier career path.
However, in order to become a professional gold digger, I would need to do a sex tape and release that on the internet. And being unwilling to do that, it was back to finding crumbs. Green bubbles, algae or cow poo, I don't know. The one thing I had going for me at this point was that the garnets were remaining strong, and the gold, whilst not plentiful, was consistent. I was getting something in every pan. And occasionally a leech would like to latch onto my finger underneath the pan whilst I was trying to reveal that gold. These are tiger leeches. They're pretty harmless, although they don't exactly numb you before they bite, so you will feel it and then you will bleed for about 3 days before it decides to stop.
The relief, it finally happened. I got a shotgun pellet. Gadsy will be very proud of me.
After a couple of hours of prospecting and finding a little bit of gold here and there, it was finally time for my strength test of the day.
Wow. Yeah. Who needs a gym? Oh my god, that was a big rock. You can fit so many golds in this bad boy. Perhaps not. All of that work and just, well, the biggest flakes of the day, but not very many of them. Luckily, I've been using my brain noodle and I have an idea. But ideas are best digested if you're a subscriber of Vo-Gus Prospecting. So if you haven't already, check out the little bell icon. If you press it, fun and exciting things will happen in your bedroom.
Vo-Gus Prospecting and all of its affiliates take no accountability for anything that happens into your bedroom or anything that doesn't happen in your bedroom.
Yeah, what he said. All the gold here seems to be flood gold, which makes sense because you saw how high the flood debris was on that tree. That means this river is raging. And down in this section here, the water would be cracking along and probably not depositing too much gold. I've been looking for hours now. I am a big, dumb, stinky idiot of a boy because what gold requires to drop out is friction. Higher friction means lower water velocity. Lower water velocity means things drop out of suspension, like gold and garnets. This sits much higher than this. High friction, low friction. And I just pulled a metric shit ton of garnets out of there. Oh, yeah. Oh my god. Oh. There's no guarantee there's going to be gold there, but I'll be happy with some garnets because we can do something with them.
If there's one thing I've found above all else is that the potato pan is really good at holding onto gemstones compared to regular flat bottom pans we use here in the West.
Oh, just a few red rocks, just a few, and only one little lowly flake of gold, but hey, at least we got one. We're getting good heavies here, and then I dug up a bit of a quartz vein there, and we just got probably one of the better pans of the day. That's not too shabby. And it was out of less than a quarter of a pan.
With my last remaining bit of energy, I followed that trench along looking for pockets, and I found a good pocket. The sheer amount of gemstones and black sand that I found in this last pan was ridiculous, but more importantly, I also found the biggest flake of gold for the day.
Oh, but I got one. That's a good bit. That's the average size of the gold on this creek when you find a deposit, but today has been hard work. Lots of gemstones and a little bit of gold.
If you want to try hunting your very own garnets or even your very own gold, we've got a selection of pay dirts available at theoldmouldy.com.au, including concentrates from this exact creek with a lot more gold in it. So if you'd like to try prospecting for gold in the comfort of your own armchair, the Old Mouldy's where it's at. It took me a few years to figure this out, but a big part of prospecting for me isn't necessarily just finding the gold. I don't want to be a person who's only storing it away in jars to whip out and show my friends on occasion. I want to turn the stuff I find into things people may like to have. Don't stress too bad, Fernie. It's just a thunderstorm. We got this, bro. But before I brought my idea to fruition, we had to sort the comms out. Garnets I wanted to use would be in plus kitchen strainer size. And this kitchen strainer has done a lot of work for me over the last 10 years. There are like 300,000 million billion ways that you could possibly clean cons up, and in this case I'm just using one of my pancake pans. It's pretty fast and very accurate. And in only a couple of minutes I managed to reduce my concentrates down to less than a handful worth of what I hope to be some gold. There's some gold in there. That's good. We didn't come home completely empty-handed. I mean, hey, that's prospecting. You're not always going to hit a Bonanza City. That's what makes hitting Bonanza City so damn special. It's kind of like the difference between living in Vegas and visiting it. The original jewellery project that I had in mind at the very start of this video wasn't going to work. I had a vastly different jewellery idea than this when I first started today's session, but that relied on me getting substantially more gold, and we didn't get there. That's prospecting for you, but we can still do something really cool with these garnets, and in a way pay homage to the snake I saw first thing that morning. I was going to make a 999 pure silver snake utilizing some of those bright red almandine garnets as its eyeballs. I took a small selection of the almandine garnets that I recovered out of my kitchen strainer and chose a few that I thought would suit the snake's head the best, and with very shaky hands managed to even set them in the face without damaging it too much. All the hard work done and not a single bit of help from this one. Could you lend a hand, boss? You got 4. With our snake oil all dry, it was time to finally fire it and turn it into silver.
This is the part where it could all go tits up really quick.
Once fired, these items are usually left with a small layer of organic compound that looks rather white, and we buff that off using a Dremel. This will oxidize over the next little bit. I could put it in some vinegar, or I could put it in some bleach to help speed that process up. But for now, I might just leave it as it is. This is a 999 silver snake with garnets from Garnet Creek that I dug out myself, and I'm pretty happy with that. Even though we didn't get a bunch of gold, we did get to make something out of something we found from the creek, which is garnets. Garnets might be relatively common in many places across the world. In my region, they're not particularly common, and I quite enjoy digging them up and now having something to show them off in.